I am at Wimbledon, and for the past week I've been kind of searching, 'cause it's the first time I've ever been, searching out all the stuff that I need to know, like parking and da-da-da. So I've been searching Wimbledon a lot. I'm getting fed lots of advertising. So it kind of got me thinking, how does the advertising look in 2024 for the competition? And also then, how does that compare with historical stuff, whether it's for the competition itself or just brands? So I'm going to hand over to Dale back in the studio, and he's going to take you through a few of those historical adverts and also what's going on this year. Over to you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale. I am back in the studio, ready with the playlist all queued up. So starting off with this year's advert for Wimbledon 2024.
Championship points to win Wimbledon. There's a new king of centre court.
Okay, so kind of like a compilation of different shots, kind of layered CG together. I guess they're sort of projection mapping it onto different layers in a generated environment. Oh yeah, and then all the flying over the top, and it does look very much like stills comped onto things and then just blending them together with a little bit of kind of live action stuff thrown in. Now this, I feel like this is a little bit of a theme. It's kind of just taking real shots, real footage, and then just interpreting them into a fun, different advert for that year's competition. So we're going to jump straight into ESPN's coverage, and this is so much more vanilla.
Are ready. Coco
Yeah.
is ready. Carlos is ready.
So on the one hand, we got the Wimbledon official advert, which is kind of taking all those moments and trying to comp them into a fun montage, but interpreted in a slightly different way. You know, they're looking at it as an environment that we're traveling through, as well as we're also traveling through time. We're seeing different matches. You've got all the different tennis balls, you've got all the different players, you've got all the different moments. The ESPN advert is much more like what you would get if you went along and did just a highlight film of an event. What you have to think about with Wimbledon or anything like this, you know, any sports event, there's going to be a lot of coverage. There's a lot of different camera angles. There's plenty of shots to create something interesting in the edit. And that's very much what the ESPN version feels like it's doing. It is just an interpretation of footage that exists, trying to make it fun and engaging, but it's really all about the edit. They haven't gone out and planned any of that. They have, I think, just gathered it all together after the fact, thrown it into the edit suite, and then expected the editor to make something exciting with it. And to some extent, I suppose you could say that the Wimbledon 2024 version is also doing that, but it's a much higher concept interpretation of it. Now, we're jumping into another advert just here. This is, again, animated, so we're going to take a look, and it is the Pursuit of Greatness, and kind of trying to sum up the history of Wimbledon with this one. Different style of animation again, and it's more like sketchy, sort of the kind of animation you would have seen at that time in history, or the kind of illustration, I should say. And then it gradually pivots and switches to different time periods, trying to stay current with the animation style of the time. Yeah, so 80s is all kind of colourful and quirky. And moving on to the more modern, which has got all the speed lines, a much more graphic novel vibe. And then it takes it all back to the beginning, shows you the Wimbledon site, and then gradually takes you through all the different animation styles and into that final finishing shot. I like that. There's a lot to dissect with it, and it isn't just doing one style of animation taking you through a journey. It is using the animation style to tell you a little bit about the time period that you're in, and also help to kind of establish when things are changing. So if we just had lots of shots of people playing tennis and it's all animated in the same style, you might guess because of the outfits or something, but they're using the animation style combined with some of the setting, you know, like showing the fact that it's now televised at one point with all of the different things that brings, or the fact that at one point the guy's changing out the scores and suddenly it changes to a digital scoreboard. So they are using elements of the environment, elements of what people are wearing, but they're also underscoring it with the different animation styles. That, I think, is a really interesting, out of all of the adverts we looked at so far, I think that is the most interesting one, because it is using the medium that we're viewing it through to tell us a little bit about the time period. So you've got to kind of really understand what it is you're trying to latch onto. Like with the 80s part of that, it was kind of colourful and felt kind of cliche, but very 80s. And then we move on to the more modern style, where it is more like a graphic novel, where they've got those kind of speed lines. Everything's a little bit more, well, stark, but feeling a little bit more intense, feeling like it's got a little bit more power into it. The muscles are more defined. So that's a really interesting way of summing up the history of Wimbledon and also creating a little bit of hype for the competition and going and sitting in that place with all that history that's gone on. On to the next one.
The wait is finally over. We're live at Wimbledon and it's looking like a glorious day.
Come on, you're missing it!
We are in Wimbledon, and the grass is looking as immaculate as ever.
Just 15 years of age. Our very first Wimbledon.
Now that one, again, very, very different style. This is more adverty in my view. It's more like the kind of thing which you would expect from a brand. So imagine that you don't necessarily have access to all the archive of footage for various reasons, for rights or whatever, and you want to still get a sense of the hype and the build-up. Well, you show the people watching it. So here they are taking lots of different scenarios, lots of little vignettes of life around the world even, not just within the UK, and showing the excitement and the different ways that people are engaging with the sport. So whether it is in a bar, in a deli, sitting around your phone, you got it loaded up, you're at a family do and someone's watching it and suddenly everyone's in there around it getting engaged with it, or looking through a shop window as you're going past, you can see this a critical moment. For the next advert, I'm going to lose some of the younger audience. I think this is going all the way back to 1997. So whereas most of the other adverts have been for Wimbledon or for a broadcaster, this one is actually for Diet Coke. I actually remember this. A little bit cheekier than we would probably see in a lot of adverts now, literally and metaphorically. Definitely. There's something about those old adverts. I heard that and immediately I just remembered the little tune, the little kind of motif they have with the tennis ball being the rhythm going back and forth, and the people are looking from side to side, and the tennis balls, obviously, that's what tennis does. It's a bit of a obvious thing, but the camera is using that as a way of transitioning as well. So you've got sort of not an extreme whip pan, but a bit of a whip pan vibe to transit from one to the other. They've then thought about what parallels there are between the Coke and the tennis. So opening the fresh can of tennis balls, opening the can of Coke is the same kind of thing. They've got those couple of cheeky moments in there, literally with cheeks, and then they've got the passing of the strawberry, very classic Wimbledon with the strawberries. Don't think I've mentioned it yet, but I'm hoping that I've had some already. Then you've got the really risque outfit, the whole bikini made of tennis balls, and it finishes off just with a sweaty guy wiping a cold can of Coke on his head. But for me, the thing that makes this one so memorable is the little song, the tune, which is something that I don't think any of the others. And now I've got nostalgia, obviously, for this one. But I don't think any of the other adverts that we've looked at so far have got that kind of quirky catchiness to them. They are lovely in their way, but they're semi-forgettable. This, it's got a little earworm in there. It's kind of got the old-timey kind of slightly nasal singing, and it feels a certain way just hearing the song, let alone then seeing all the imagery in there as well. So that's a very different interpretation from Coke just there. So we are into, you knew that it was coming, you had to know that it was coming, Robinsons. What is Robinsons? It is a fruit cordial, a squash. Lemon barley water is the classic one, and from my childhood, I think it's always been associated with tennis in my head. So these Robinsons adverts are kind of the classic. This one does actually feature a tennis star, so there is a little bit more money perhaps involved in the production of this. You know, they've got to pay the tennis star to be in there and everything and endorse the brand. Oh, the autograph. The very attractive mother wants an autograph from the tennis heartthrob. Little boy's been sent to get it because he's cute. But he downs the drink that the tennis player gave him to hold while he signs the autograph. Then he smacks him on the head with the tennis racket, kind of says, "You little scamp," and then wanders off. And Robinson's anything else just isn't tennis is the tagline for that. And again, massive nostalgia. It's all kind of very cute, very, very harmless fun, like a lot of adverts used to be, but there's definitely a little nudge and wink, like it's the mum who wants the autograph, and she, I don't know, maybe I'm just older, but she's very attractive, and then she sees her little scamp of a son holding that Robinsons, and she knows he's going to cave, and there's that little knowing kind of back and forth, and then he drinks it, and it's all good fun. It's not at Wimbledon. It's got nothing to do with tennis necessarily. It's about being a fan. It's about being a fan of the drink as well. If you're the kid, the mum's a fan of the tennis, the kid's a fan of the drink. And then you've got the tennis star in there as well. I don't think that I've seen the same kind of advert as these last couple of Robinsons ones in a good number of years at Wimbledon. I'm interested. I'm going to have a look around. If anyone else has seen something more like this in the past few years, I'd be really interested to see how they interpret this kind of thing now, because now it feels a little bit more literal with a lot of this. There's less stories of the people and the products. It's more, here's the tennis and here's the stuff around it. Coming back around a little bit more contemporary with this, Rolex. Everyone knows that watch brands have been associated with athletes, and Wimbledon in particular. Roger Federer is perhaps one of the most well-known. So for this advert, some dramatic music, some dramatic shots of Federer hitting the tennis balls in slow motion, and winning, which is always important, holding up the trophy, saying yay with the Rolex. And then interspliced in between that, you've just got beautiful shots of the product. It's kind of such a basic format. They're just showing the thing, they're showing the personality doing what they do, and then at the end, hopefully, you know, your personality is the one who has the winning streak and is able to hold up the trophy, and then you can just slap Rolex over the top of it. I imagine they do have to pay a heavy fee to be able to use footage from Wimbledon for that, but hey, it's got to be worth it, hasn't it, to be associated in that way with someone who's winning again and again and again. That one was 2007, so a little bit more contemporary, but again, quite a literal interpretation of product, person, winner. You could be like this person as well. Over to you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale. That was an interesting day. First time I've ever been to Wimbledon. Unfortunately, the match we wanted to see got cancelled. That was Djokovic playing. It was a walkover because he didn't have to play. Bad for us, good for him, I suppose. But I guess everyone really kind of wants to play. So, yeah, we saw the ladies singles, which was good, and then the mixed doubles. Mixed doubles was actually really fun because they were diving for points and all kinds of stuff like that. Hope you found this interesting. It's a bit of a weird format, but I'm going to be doing more analysis of those kind of ads and things. So, see you next time.